Hey everyone, this is TB Shores. It's still March the 23rd. Right now I want to pick up where we left off on the video where I ended it talking about Pentecost and the Feast of Weeks, and I had shown you this right here that the Lord had given me on April the 4th in 2013, and how it brings us to April the 4th in 2015. This 2-week period does, and how the Lord had shown me, let's see, where did it go? That it begins with the solar eclipse. I wanted to go back and remind where the Lord had brought me to this understanding of how the death, burial, and resurrection and Passover, the actual dates of Passover, and the season of Passover is important to the bride, okay? The bride is represented by the barley. And the Lord showed me when he took me to Leviticus 23, that's where he first started showing me what he had given me concerning the death, burial, and resurrection. And he had given me this timeline based upon that, how it pertains directly to Passover. And he showed me that in Leviticus 23 as I read about the feast. Okay, the Lord's had me studying the feast and the harvest. And what I feel that he is showing me is this, especially when I look at this, that he gave me pertaining to 2 weeks. Now, first I'm going to talk about the barley. And that'll probably be what this video consists of, and then we'll move on to the wheat with the next one, okay? But the barley, this is the meaning that applies to the barley, because remember I told you this has a twofold meaning. It's talking about Jesus and his disciples have 2 weeks, and also we see that Jesus and his disciples have 2 weeks, meaning until the Feast of Weeks. And I do feel that he's clearly shown me the importance of these 2 separate 2 weeks that he spoke to me here, okay? All right, having said that, I'm just going to pick up on the barley and try to explain as best I can what he's shown me. All right, I showed you before that the solar eclipse to the blood moon, which here's the solar eclipse, that was March 20th, and here's the blood moon, which is April the 4th, which again I will say is the same day in 2013 when the Lord gave me Jesus and his disciples have 2 weeks. Okay, what I want to point out right now is how this information that I found, it says the tender green ears of barley in the month of Abib will usually begin to mature. Here it says it will usually begin to mature after the March equinox date. Well, the March equinox date is this right here, March the 20th. The equinox date is the day that where night and day are of equal time on that one day. So this was the March equinox, okay? And that is when what the Lord is showing me, this 2-week period began for the maturity of the barley, which is the bride. During this time, the Lord wants us to seek him, to grow our relationship with him, that we may be mature when this time comes here, okay? That's what this 2 weeks is all about. It's just simply us seeking the Lord and growing in the Lord and becoming more mature spiritually as this time of Passover season approaches. So the key thing here that we need to learn from this is that this is a time of maturing for the barley, which is the bride. And we know that from Scripture, we see in the Leviticus 23 that when Passover comes, we're going to see appear, I think it's in verse 10. It says, "Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye be come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the firstfruits of your harvest unto the priest, and he shall wave the sheaf before the Lord to be accepted of you." Okay? That is when the firstfruits, the barley sheaf, will be presented to the Lord. And so this time between March equinox date, which is when maturing of the barley begins, is the 2-week time up until Passover that we need to be growing maturely, seeking the Lord in prayer and in His Word, and just growing spiritually so that we're ready for this time that's coming at Passover. And I'm going to leave that there for the moment, and I'm going to pick up on the next video with what's meant by this other 2 weeks until the Feast of Weeks. I'll be back. I love you. Bye-bye.